So, 참물로 just 아니 대링 먼저 subject the speech therapy 칸라제 아니 먼저 기 담시 파조 디 신디샤라레 니 쿠란 캘리포니아 니 레라 아니 쿠란 speech 다 language pathologist 라 레가치 니 로숨 송아 저기 아니 더 먼저 속바찰라 리메 기 토라 레가치 니 로가 저기리아 신디샤 아니 대링 먼저 담시 디 균에 소소 파마다 겐라 남기 부 냠두 제와이 야가 차라 파마다 겐라 기 쵸바타 합람 칸라 아니 럽기리라 시디쇼게 니 시디쇼 됐을래 결혼전 상말 얘기하고 거기다 그다 그래서 건강아 된다요 되게 쉬운데 장만 매요 so किसी खेंजो या like inti goma chu in the china ani nge gi translate ya this robot do chu nga thering do chobong ne di ho shi ya nge ming la ten su mo yin ani nga tsc ga le je yin da ani ani on di ta nge translate ya di robot chi kisi phege goma chu like inji goma chu in the china ani nga la ke cha chiru chi da nge di robot chu ani subject de chawe je la kizi kyunzola like pdf thoni go ina ani on dingi like re chinta ora phama dengela ni ga chola ani thanda ta subjon di ta gozuk shawra Cindy Shaw, you can take the station.
Okay, Tuchena, thank you. Tashi Dele, everyone. And Tashi Dele. It looks like we have a lot of people at the Peteon school, and then a few other people. If everyone could turn their camera on, that would really be helpful for me, if that's okay.
정말로 소소야 camera on 치루치나.
Tuchena, thank you. Can each parent tell me their name and what's going on with their child, like especially the parents?
Okay.
Just each one by one, just say their name and the main problem with the child.
양 책다 word 인도도 둥기도
짱마짱짱
알레 the sentence 디 축부 properly 디 라투요 마라
잠잠을 약불 내더라 잠잠 스칼레 하고 두고라
알레 okay so she is Tenzin Tsomo's mother. So Tenzin Tsomo studies in Peteon school and he has a problem with not being able to speak properly with the sentences. He can say few words, but he can't make it through sentences. So that's the problem with him.
Okay, and how old?
부부 로 하주 있나 Tenzin Tsomo?
6 years.
라?
No talk.
No too great. He's 6 years old. And he studies in
Okay.
kindergarten. Yes.
Okay, Tuchena, next.
Nilasha.
Tenzin gele ki gochungna dire o Tenzin gele rang gochungna dire.
nga Tenzin rapke gi ama
Ade.
ya pede lopta do re monto niwa de nge pu lo shida da gusto de ta lo nga chado
Less
ke
less.
je shi me tanda kharkus ke shi me
Ale. So she is Rabgil's mother, and he studies in kindergarten, and he's about to be 5 years old. So he can't speak properly. He don't speak at all. That's the problem.
No speech.
Yeah, no speech.
I contact ke dun da ha hurra ina ta for hand flapping do yore hand flapping da jumping chair ro da and you are
So he does recognize the sound, but he can't, speak it. He can't speak properly. which means he don't speak at all. So he does the hand flapping things and he doesn't make eye contact.
Did she ever get a reason?
Did she ever get what? Are you asking what's the reason behind it?
I'm asking if any doctor or anybody told her the reason why.
Oh, okay. Gelela ni susopu ji
이게야 딱 하려래 pediatrician da dinzola check chi ro psychologist dinzola ya maybe autism le do ina confirm chi da lama su thanda badura
Ale maybe later Dr. Honzuki. This she said.
ya test back kora detail and check chi ma so ina ta halo thanda chung thare do la ja nyama lo sums ka do chi gyo re di je ne ta chi yo ma de che
Ale losum ka do chidu the chichna ingi re dawla the autism.
oh maybe la ja thada ina diagnose che la chung thare do le dura
So she took him to a doctor when he was 3 years old. So the doctor said like he could be having a autism syndrome.
Tuchena. Okay, next.
Can we have the next participant? Yishila chiksuna da yishi pugu mingla kharina ni pugu ga jikange suna. Hello, Ishila. Ishila gozuna dire, Miss Darden gozuna dire, ra pamashimba su lana dire. Tanda nga zo sindi yora, ani mogi thangboya kyoranzo gaji pugo la da, pugo ji kange di zo nying ra. Ani di next, ani subjong di gozu ide ra.
Sengi dwe.
Let's
Sengi dwe.
let's
Sengi dwe.
let's kuido.
Ara inchige jagore kachu.
인지게 게나 디야 인지게 게로시라 시디샤 람상라 인지게 게나 야요르
Ale inchige de yang sama matang achna yang.
아 기어마 델라 non judgmental 라
Mare kodo matrio achna yang yawa maro.
no it's okay 인지게 게로시라 practice yabu tuye
Okay, first of all I would like to say Tashitelek to Miss Cindy and all of everyone in this meeting. My name is Ishi, and I have a 5-year-old boy who is actually little bit problem in speaking, but he is getting all over the developing gradually.
So does he say what, like single words or sentences? Where is he saying?
Not long sentences, very short and single word, and maybe 3 to 4 word sentences.
Okay, Tuchena, thank you. And what's his name?
His name is Tenzin Ngawang.
Tuchena. Okay, Jela.
That's all. And hello, speech therapy. Speech that way.
speech
the habit
television mother tadang anzo di speech therapy workshop la round di kanon te yera
and he used to get stumble while he speak.
Like stutter, like a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Stuttering, okay.
Stuttering.
Okay. Thank you. How about Pamela?
Pamela?
네, 드실래?
Dele?
لا. أنا دي join تلرا شكاية. أنا يجي نتاي شيء جوالا.
Listless. Ale susu gi ming che ani pu ga ji kange ko la che nang da.
그래서 나 부다 로스인데 모두 공부를 되게 놓잖아. 아니 고성은 지도 아니 빨라다 아마 저 아자저 라이즈라 근데 뭐 하고 있어. 그런 이제 엑스프레스 체크가 오늘 것도 다 타고 되는 거라야.
오케이. 밍 가리 나?
이게 총이
Tenzin Kharira?
Tsomo, TSOTNY.
Koni re, Koni. Okay. So,
Tsomo.
she is the mother of Tenzin Koni. Koni is like
No,
3 years old.
Tony.
Koni.
Tony.
Tony, Gonda, I mean, Tsongmi. Tsoni. Ale, let's Gonda, I mean, me, I will homeless Gonda. So, Tsoni is 3 years old. So, Pomora, Tsoni. So Sony can use words like mother, father, sister, but she is not being able to express her words properly.
Oh, female.
Yes, sir. She's a female. She's a 3 years old, studying in kindergarten in Pura. It's not she, it's he. See, sorry, my mistake. It's he. It's a boy.
Okay.
Hello, kude.
Oh, this.
Thank you.
My name is Tenzin Dorje.
Hello.
My nephew, he's 3 years and 2 months old in first kindergarten. He can't speak a single word.
No words. How does
Yeah.
he communicate? How is he communicating with you? Like, does he use gestures or pointing or what?
There are some indications like if he wants something to be done, he will come close to me and if he wants me to open something, he will give it to me to open it. And if he wants to want something, he will to most of the time he won't listen to instructions very well.
Does he? Do you think he understands a one-step instruction? Like,
I believe he doesn't.
he does not. You don't think he does understand, like, go get your toy, go get your truck, go get your car?
Yes.
Okay. Is he living with you?
Yes.
Okay, to Jenna. Okay, next, Jenna.
Okay. So I think almost all the parents have expressed their concern already. So, yeah. So shall we start?
Okay, so yes. To start with, I wanted to talk a little bit about two things that are really important for everybody to understand. And Dorji was just referred to it, but sometimes it's a little bit difficult, but it's very important. And that is, we're talking about spoken communication. We're only talking about talking and listening. We're not talking about reading, writing, right? Only talking and listening. Do you want to translate?
Talking and listening. Okay. The thanda ngazo ki topic thangsho dikhare rela na spoken communication. Ja chidan shura pu khonzo chala. Ani won de ja khani go churla na keja share da keja nye shura. Thangbo lobjung ja da logya di zo khola thangbo mata che thangbo normally khona ja chidan shura won di khona go chur. Yes, sir, you can go on.
Okay, so when we're listening, this is called comprehension, and that's what's going in. This is separate from the speaking, so we should not mix the two. We shouldn't mix what the child understands with what the child can say.
아니 계좌 쉐다 계좌 냐 버로로 개발페요래야 하잖아 계좌 닝도 온디가지 미션이 디가지 인포메이션 스토어 쇼라 아니 온디 버로라 아니 온디 개발요레스.
So, for example, I can understand Tibetan, but I don't really speak Tibetan. I can speak some words, but I can understand. So there's a difference, right, between what we can understand and what we can say. And maybe for you, it's the same for English. You can understand some English, but maybe you're not so confident about speaking. The difference, right?
정말로 신디셔가지요 인지게 고치대. Okay,
고치기도.
고치더라. 그새 고마수나 nga 계좌 치료시더라 게 로 단당아 인터럽 제메요 니 신디셔다 컨티뉴 지나야 보더라. 아니 계좌 고마수나 nga 굳이 치료나다라 뭐서 말이 Okay, Sindisha, you can continue. So if they have any questions, they will ask me straight away because most of them understand your, English.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and put the presentation up for a moment and we'll look at that. So we just talked about the first part, spoken communication, which is the receptive or understanding or listening, following directions. And the second is speaking, sometimes the children point, sometimes they use gestures, and then hopefully they're talking, right? That's what we want. We want them to be talking, but we also want them to understand. Both are important. Okay, now I'm going to go through we'll start with 2 to 3. So let's just say 3 years old. I don't think there's any 2-year-old. So regarding your child or teachers, this also refers to you and your children. So I'm also talking to the teachers. It's the same. It doesn't matter whether you're a teacher or whether you're a parent. It's the same what is normal or what we should expect. Okay. So for 3-year-old, they should be following a 1-step direction, like go get me your shoes, or where is the truck, or where is mommy? So just one thing, they should be able to understand that at 3 years old. Okay. Then also at 3, they should be speaking, they should have around 50 words. Okay, at least 50 words. So if your child is 3 years old and doesn't have 50 words, then that shows that there's a little problem there. Okay. Now, no voice. Okay, thank you. No voice. Okay, we'll have to talk about that separately. That's a good point. Okay, so for 4 to 5-year-olds, so 4-year-old or 5-year-old, they should be able to follow 2-step directions. We were already there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Okay.
One more up. There we go. 4 to 5. Okay, so for a 4 to 5-year-old, 2-step directions. Go get the truck and put it on the table. Go get your spoon and put it on the table. As a teacher, you may say, go get your pencil and your paper. So that's 2 steps. So if you're 4 to 5 years old, definitely you should be doing 2 steps. If you're not understanding 2 steps, there's a problem. Speaking. The child speaks so most people can understand. So that means that in your family especially, people should be able to understand, the words that your child is saying. If they're not understandable by 4 or 5 years old, that's a problem. Like if they're speaking in a way that's difficult to understand. And then also, I put here eye contact, because if the child isn't making eye contact when they talk, there can be different reasons for that. For example, a lot of little boys, especially some little girls, but also mostly little boys, have hyperactivity. So if the boy is hyperactive and they don't make eye contact, then this is something to be concerned about, right? Because you have to pay attention to the teacher in school, you have to pay attention to your parents and what they say. And if you're not making eye contact, either you don't have attention or there's some other problem. So eye contact is very important. Okay, last one is 6 years of age, and now you should definitely be following 3 steps at a time. Go get your pencil and paper and sit down at your desk. If you want to go to the bathroom, please put your hand in the air. So different directions where you have 3 or 4 pieces of information. When 6. When a 6-year-old is talking, they should make sentences, and they should also make short stories. So they should say, I was playing with my friends. Oh, you were playing with your friends? Yes, we were running around. Okay, you were playing with your friends and you were running around. Who were you with? I was with Tenzin. Okay, so now they're able to kind of make a few connected sentences. So by 6 years old, they should be able to start telling you that, and they should be able to say who they are with, or what, or when, or where. So at 6 years old, they definitely should be saying those things. And if they're not, then you should, try to get some help. Okay, any questions about that? No?
비 칸라 기저도 제야 된다 모기 로 숨니 치니 로 투보도 된다 온디 칸라 셰사 니 켄졸라 저도요나 야메네 confusion 도요나 아니 온디 doubt create 차 신디 야메네 게 로퍼초라 저도 케요나
Okay, no
Okay,
questions?
yeah, I think everyone understood what you just told.
Okay. So now we'll go to activities for early grades. So first of all, I want to say that I'm very happy that C Learning is starting in the school. This is something that started by His Holiness the Dalai Lama 5 years ago in Delhi. And now it's in, I don't know how many, 150 or 200 countries are using this program. It's not religious, it's ethics and emotional learning. So it's just secular, which means not religious, and it has to do with ethics and emotions. And what's good about it for your children, if they're having speech or language problems, is that it helps them to deal with their emotions. Because sometimes children, if they get emotional, just like if I get emotional, then I don't talk as well as if I'm calm and I feel like, my emotions are more stable. If I'm always angry or I'm always sad or other problems, then it's going to affect the communication. So I won't talk anymore about C Learning, but I understand that the schools are starting to have C Learning. So I'm very, very happy, and I encourage all the parents to learn about it. It's pretty easy. I mean, basically it's be kind whenever possible. It is always possible, right? And if we cannot be kind, then do no harm. Do not hurt others. That's the basic. That's what it's about. Oson?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. All right. Now, so these are tips for parents and for teachers. I think that I know it's different because the teachers, and I just really want to thank the teachers because you have a hard job. You have to deal with so many children that are, like regular students and then students that are having different problems. So I think you have a lot of hard work, and I really appreciate that you are working so hard for these children. It's not easy. Okay, so for the children, just be sure you talk to the children in a clear way. Like you can, if they're not understanding well, then just talk in short sentences. Don't give them too much information at once. Just tell them one thing at a time and be very clear. Because sometimes as parents, I know I used to do, I say, hey, you need to go get your school book, and you need to get your backpack, and then come to the kitchen. I'm going to feed you dinner. But that was too much sometimes when they were little. So we have to be careful. We just give them short information. Okay. And okay, so now you can, okay. The next is, it's important to talk to your children frequently, but it's also important for them to have silent time where they can relax. And relaxing doesn't necessarily mean in front of the TV, okay? You see, I understand a lot of you are in a predicament where you don't have anybody to watch your children and you have things that you have to do. And the TV or the iPad is okay sometimes, but really decide how much time each day your child will have. The best time is 0. But if you have 1 hour or 2 hours, okay, fine, but just make some sort of a limit as to how much your child is going to be looking at an iPad or a phone or a TV. Okay? So I want you to know, I understand that the TV is a good babysitter. A lot of times you have to, because you want to keep your child safe. but really try to limit the amount of time on the screen. This is very important. Okay. As I said before, it's important. These are really basic things to teach your child about eye contact. If you say tashidele, have your child look at you in the eyes and say tashidele, right? Or at least look at you and make, even if they can't say tashidele, they can look at you when you say that. So really, help them understand the importance of looking at the person who's talking and look at the person you're talking to as well. Okay. Okay. Then I said breathing relaxation. So if the child is getting, upset, the best thing to do is just take a break, right? And a lot of you know about timeout or just saying, okay, I want you to breathe and count to 10 or something to get the child to calm down. Or sometimes you just have to walk away, right? If they're showing a big fit, temper tantrum, then you have to just walk away into the other room. As long as they're safe, just let them have their temper. And then, check on them. Does that make sense? Because if they don't have proper behavior, it's going to be hard for them to learn how to communicate. It's going to be hard for them to understand and hard for them to speak. So having proper behavior is very important. Ako-san. Okay, so I am going to show a video, and these are just some ideas for you, for those children who are not speaking, and also for the teachers. You guys, I think someone's going to give you a copy of this PDF, but what's important here is for those children who are not talking, really, really, really start using signing with them. It's very simple. So this is a 5-minute clip on a video that just introduces baby signing. Okay, go ahead.
My name is Jasmine, and I am a speech and language pathologist. In this video, I am going to go through my selection of quite a bit of fine motor coordination. So please know that it's totally okay to use a replacement, or what is commonly referred to as a sign approximation. Here's an example with the word more, and this is what the sign for more looks like. So instead of putting fingers together into this shape, it might be easier for a baby to clasp his hands together. The important part of using sign approximations is to be consistent. So if clapping hands together is what will physically work for your child, this is how you should be signing as well. Now, without further ado, here are the top 15 signs. Hi. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Daddy. Hi, friend. Want. Want toy. Want snack. More. More snack, please. All done. All done with snack. Eat. Eating time. Eat snack.
I'm sorry, the net is acting up again.
Okay, here we go.
Drink. Drink milk. Drink water. Go. Go there. Go out. Diaper. This is diaper. Diaper change. Milk. Milk, please. Want milk. Mommy and Daddy. I love Mommy. I love Daddy. sleep. Sleep time. Play. Play with toys. Play with me. Ball. My ball. There's a ball. Book. Read book. Bath. Bath time. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, thoughts, or video requests, feel free to write in the section below. Thank you so much.
So yeah.
Okay, thank you. And if you could go ahead and put up the presentation again.
Yes, yes. Can you see the presentation?
No,
Not yet?
no, I see the video. There we
You
go.
see the video?
Okay, perfect. Okay, so just beyond, like the next page, page 3, if you could go to the top. Okay, there we go. All right. So we're talking about activities for 3-year-olds, and it could be for a 4-year-old too, but generally at 3, you want to be reading them books. Every day have, you know, a book that you're going to read them, and you can read them the same book again and again, but you should have different books about different, you know, like one about animals, one about colors, one about numbers. Have different books that you would read, you know, silly books, could be baby books, any kind of books, but be sure that you read to your child on a regular basis. And I know the teachers are doing that. Then the next one has to do with rhyming.
So mute chiruchidara. So video ji mute chiruchida. Mute lana case chiruchida.
Okay, so the next one has to do with rhyming. So can you think of 4 words, Tsomo, that rhyme in Tibetan?
I'm not really good with the rhymings.
Like ta, ma, sa, ka, right? Those all rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the book, yeah, they have rhyming, but go ahead, try.
Because like for me, there are certain Tibetan words which I can't say it properly. So, so
Okay,
I'm sure like
ko, lo, so, lo, ro. So these are rhyming words, right? So it's important to play games and sing songs with different words. Also,
iPhone 11 कुछ case chiruchida.
iPhone 11
Hello, iPhone 11 case chiruchida. iPhone 11
okay. Yeah. Okay, it's tough. Tell the child stories and then see if the child can tell you back the stories. If the child's not talking, that's a little hard, yeah? Also, just talk to your child and tell them what you did during the day. Oh, you know, daddy went to work, mommy went to work, mommy went to the store, just different things. Let them know what you're doing during the day. And also be sure to give them directions. Oh, please go get me the spoon, or please put your trash in the trash can, something like that. Tsomo, I think since we're having trouble with videos, let's just continue, okay?
Okay.
But anybody can look at these videos that I have on your own time, yeah.
Reo jela kisi kyunzo la like you know who kiche shetan yarge khandis tango me on dinde YouTube tanda links ta the PDF la ani on dinge subjong di sa jela ye phama kyunzo da ani gegen kyunzo namba la ni di PDF di tan shora re shini this.
Okay, The other thing to do is to talk about how things are the same and different with children. So if you have two things, let's say you have a rock and a truck, then you want to say, oh, look, are these the same or different? And they can point, they don't even have to talk, but so that they understand what is the difference, you know, or what is the same. So, oh, one is a toy and one is, you know, something you find in the dirt. Or you could have a flower and some food. Are they the same or different? And then you talk about, oh, well, one is a food and one is a flower. Or if you have two foods, you have a carrot and you have a potato. Oh yeah, are these the same or different? And so you can play a game with that also. And if you wanted to add to that, you could just have two words that said same and different. And then when you say same, then you point to that word. If you say different, then you point to the other word. So that is only understanding. They don't even have to say anything. But this is a very important concept, same and different. The other important concept are categories. So for example, the category of food, the category of animals, the category of trees or flowers or bedtime or your bedroom, things in your bedroom, things in the kitchen. These are all categories of things. So one thing that kids like to do sometimes is when you're getting dinner ready, they like to, you know, get the forks and get the spoons or get the chopsticks and put them on the table. So that helps them to understand too, like everybody in the family gets a spoon or everybody in the family gets a napkin or whatever it is, so that they're also helping, and then they understand, oh, this is for eating, or this is for playing, or this is for going to the bathroom, anything like that. Okay, the next one says, play the yes/no game. So the yes/no game is like, oh, are you Tenzin? Oh, can a dog fly in the air? And all they have to do if they're not talking is they have to shake their head yes or no, yeah? So, or you could have two words written down, yes or no, and they can point to yes or they can point to no. I think in Tibetan you don't really have the word no, so, but you still, I think, maybe use the word yes and no, or they could just shake their head yes or shake their head no. Okay, the other one is starting to give the child choices. So if you ask question, do you want a banana or do you want an apple? And make the, you know, have the child decide or just point to which one. So they're giving them choices. Would you like to play with your truck or do you want to play with the doll? Do you want to help me do dishes or do you want to go rest? So that way, just two things, not three things, not four things, but just two things so they can make a choice. So give the children choices so that they start learning how to make a decision. I think a lot of times we as parents, we will do it for the child because it's easier, but try to get the child to do it for themselves. For example, eating. Your child should be eating by themselves by the time they're 4. Okay, the next thing, I hear this in the schools and it sounds really good. Singing the songs. So singing is really good, especially for a child who's not talking. Sometimes they can hum, they can, you know, rock their body, they can do other things with singing. Or maybe some children can't talk, but they can sing a little bit. So singing is a very good way to help a child to develop both their listening and their speaking. Okay, and then I put here, when parents go to His Holiness and they say, you know, my child's not speaking, what should I do? He encourages them to say D, 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 D. And this, as you know, is the syllable of Manjushri, but it also is a very important sound for a child is kind of a key sound for the children. Almost all other sounds come from the D sound. So that's one thing you can try to do with your child. Even if they don't say it, you could also just say it to them so that they hear it. And then this is a good way for them to start to realize D, 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 or you could D, D, D. See if they can say it. If they can't say it, okay, but say it to them. Very important sound. All the other sounds start with this, come from this letter, from this sound, D. Okay, noun and verb. So let's say that you have a ball and you say, oh, ball. What can you do with the ball? I can bounce the ball. I can play with the ball. I can throw the ball. That way you have both a noun and a verb. I think, what is it? Is it minsik and chatsik? The noun and the verb. Or it could be, you know, at dinner time. Oh, what do we do with the spoon? Oh, we use the spoon to eat. We put the spoon on the table. So that way we're talking about the function of different objects. That's really important. And that way we keep it simple too, right? We don't make it complicated. We just keep it really simple. Okay, so now 4 to 6 years. So you can go ahead and turn the PDF, the presentation off, and I'll just talk. Okay, now the next thing has to do with that's 4 to 6 year olds. So one thing that's important is if your child is trying to talk to you, you need to pay attention to them. Even if they're not making sense or you don't understand what they're saying, still make eye contact with them and give them your attention because they're trying to communicate. Even if they're giving you gestures, you know, like they say more or ball or whatever it is. I think potty, this is Indian for potty, yeah? So if they give you any kind of gesture, just be sure that you really encourage them to communicate with you because remember, the children who aren't talking are very frustrated that they can't talk and they know that they're different than the other children. So it's important to give them a lot of confidence as much as we can while we're trying to figure it out, what's going on with the children. Yeah, so if the child tells you something like, let's say they go like this for potty, like I have to pee, or they go potty, then, oh, thank you for telling me that you had to do that. That's really good. So that encourage them to give you gestures or signs or anything so they're communicating with you. Also, when we're talking to children, we want to be sure that we give them space. So if we say something, give them a little bit of time to respond. Or you might have to say it 2 times or 3 times, but just give them a little bit of time to respond. So now, even if the children start talking, every day we should be teaching them a new word. So I think the teachers are really good with this, right? Because they're teaching colors and they're teaching shapes and they're teaching numbers and names of animals and all these different things. But at home, the parents should be doing the same thing. Every day you should try to teach your child 1 or 2 new words at least. So just do that, concentrate on that. Even if you have to make yourself a list of the words, even if the child is only hearing the words but not speaking the words, just be introducing new words to the children so they can increase their comprehension or their understanding. So for example, let's say that the little boys like to play with cars, and instead of car, maybe you say, what's another word for car? Moto, but you might say vehicle, or, you know, you can use other words too. Or plate and dish, or so just try to expand their vocabulary as much as you can. And again, I think the teachers are doing this, but at home you need to do too, is you need to do first, middle, last. This comes first, this comes second, right? Tampo, nipa, sumpa, or first and last, right? So that they start to understand the beginning and the end. And you just want to really explain everything to the children. And that's a good way to talk to them too. Now you could also have the children guess, oh, we need to sweep. What do we need to sweep? And then the child goes to get you a broom. So they don't have to say anything, but you're giving them a clue by telling them what it does. You're telling them the function, but you're not really telling them what it is. So then you can see if they understand, oh, you know, this is cold and sweet. And then they think, oh, ice cream, or what else? Ice cream and ice cream. I already talked about categories. So you can help your children in your house. Like they can put the dishes together, they can put the pots together, they can put the cars together, they can put the dolls together, they can put the books together, so that they start to learn how to group things that are in the same category. Categories are very, very important, that the children start to learn different categories. Fruit, vegetables, animals, and so on. But it's good with the little ones to use objects, right? All the things that are made of wood, all the things that you eat, all the things that daddy uses to fix the house. Whatever it is, there's different groups of things that they don't have to talk, but have them use them to put them together into categories or groups. Another thing you can do with your child is you can change roles. Okay, now you say to Tenzin, you say, okay, I'm gonna be Tenzin and you are going to be mommy, or you are going to be daddy. So now they get to be the daddy and you get to be the child. So that is a way to play. And then, or also you could say, okay, I am going to be a book. What are you going to do? I am going to be grandma. You be the dog. So you could, pretend you're pretending with them, right? They're pretending. And a lot of these children get really good at imagination because they can't talk. So they start to kind of go into their own. So the thing is to meet them, always meet them where they are. If we try to meet them someplace else, not going to work. We have to figure out where is the child and then meet them right where they're at. Talk about feelings. So let's say you're looking at the book and you say, oh, look, it's Tsomo. Is Tsomo happy or is Tsomo sad? And then the child can try to even show on their face sad or happy, or you can draw pictures. It's very important for the children to identify their emotions. Are you angry? Are you feeling tired? So give your child some choices as to feelings, or if you're reading a book, see if you could help them identify what the feeling is that the character in the book is having. So I don't know if the teachers have, any, with the C learning, if there's any kind of picture books or things that they're using to express, maybe one of the teachers can tell me what you're using about emotions and feelings.
Yes, there are some activities in the C learning that teaches, that guides our teachers, to
Yes.
on emotions, expressing emotions.
Are they pictures, or how is it done, with books or?
Yeah, there are some emojis, like happy emotion or sad or angry. So we show them the emojis so that the students identify, could relate their own emotions through these emojis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what techniques are there is C learning teaching for the child when they have, let's say that they're angry, then what does C learning tell you to do with the child then?
Yeah, there are some help now strategies Yeah, there are some other activities also, like resourcing, where the children are asked to draw a kind of kindness drawing, when they received, kind act from others, and they draw, they have a kind of drawing, they have a treasure chest. So they take out those drawings to, remember those kindness. So that is one of the, what you say, strategies, to calm the child. And there are some help now strategies, where the students, the kids are asked to, walk on the floor barefooted, and ask them what they feel, and some other thing is just to close their eyes and listen to 3 sounds from the outside room, classroom, or 3 sounds inside the room, just to concentrate on the sounds they hear. Then some other activities like, they are asked to push the wall or the door, and then they concentrate the force to their hands, or the back. Just, that is to divert, their attention from their anger towards all these. So there are some help now strategies in this e-learning, and some other activities which we call tracking, grounding, resourcing, kindness drawing, and there are some other activities as well. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope the parents got to listen, because these can be really helpful at home. And you might talk to your teacher to see what it looks like, because you could also send up like a feeling or emoji board at home. So when your child is frustrated and they're unable to talk, at least they could go pick a picture of, like sad or happy or cold or hungry, those sorts of things. So with a picture. So that's another really good way to get your child to start communicating with you, because some communication is with words, but when the child is not talking, we have to find other ways. So pictures are a good way. And pictures of emotions with children are really important, because the child doesn't even know what the emotions are. They're trying to figure out what they're feeling. And if they're not talking and they don't know what they're feeling, then that's a lot of frustration. So the C-Learning program is really giving a lot of very practical methods. And I think the parents can use the same sort of methods at home. So I encourage the parents to talk to the teachers to find out, or to see the, emoji board or the pictures, or these, like you said, the distraction, that the child starts to have a temper tantrum and get all upset and mad. And then, like she said, you could just say, okay, let's take our shoes off and feel the floor. Or maybe you turn on some fan and the air starts blowing. Oh, what does that feel like? So you kind of distract them away from what they were feeling at the time, because the children, if they keep going and going and going, then that's going to reinforce these negative feelings. But if you can get the child to pay attention to something else for a minute, then that negative feeling stops. And then, well, your children, but these are just different methods that could be used. And again, I think especially with children that aren't talking, trying to figure out a way to understand their emotions is very important, because they get frustrated and then they're not going to do anything. They're not going to behave.
What about some kids like who don't cooperate with their parents or with the teachers, like who has already like given up, trying to even trying to speak, like who don't even put it, like who don't even initiate any effort? What about those kids? Like how do you let them, to speak?
Yeah, well, first we have to find out what the problem is. So that was something, I don't know how much time we have left, but I'll just say now that I talked to Delek La, the director of Tibetan Ability Center, and we're going to set up a referral process. So if there's any parents who want me to evaluate your child, I'm happy to do that. Unfortunately, I'm not in McLeod-Ganj right now, so it'll have to be online. And I can't do a full evaluation, but I can head you in the right direction. I can help you to figure out what's going on, and then help you to get the child to a place where they can do a complete evaluation. We're really just starting to build some resources. So any parents that have resources, be sure you give it to Somola or you give it to Delic, so that the other parents have it. Because even as parents, right, you probably feel really alone, like, oh, my kid isn't like the other kids, and I don't know what to do, and you know, I don't have so much time, and I'm trying to figure this out. Maybe my husband is working away, or my husband is working at home, or whatever it is. You all have big challenges, and I'm happy to help you. The only thing that I'm asking is, if you do decide that you want me to help you figure out what's going on, why your child isn't talking, then you have to be 100% committed to, I would have to have you fill out some forms so I can get an idea, like, you know, what happened, you know, how old is your child, and how many siblings, and you know, I have some forms to fill out. So I would need you to follow through with filling out the forms. I would need you to follow through with communicating with me on WhatsApp. I think everybody has WhatsApp.
Yes.
So that's how I communicate too. And, but, you know, we have to work together. And I know that some people are really shy, but when it comes to your child and the problems they're having, you kind of have to just get over it. And you have to just get some help. And it's not, these things are not the fault of the parents. I really want you to know that. Like, every child is different, and all children have their own challenges. My own children had their own challenges. My first daughter, she had attention deficit disorder, and she was having a lot of problems in school, and she's more emotional. My second daughter, I swear, I didn't do anything different, and she was so easy. So sometimes we have the case, but the important thing is, especially as mothers, I know it's hard because we always think like it's my fault, or I should have done this, or I should have done that, or maybe if I would do this. No, it's not like that. Every child is born different, and some just have trouble with talking, and some have trouble with behavior, and some have trouble with attention. And some children have all those problems together. So that's where you really have to thank your teachers, because your teachers have like 20 or 30 of these kids in their class, and they're trying to each individual child to teach them. And so it's important to work with the teacher and communicate with the teacher, and also try not to make it like it's not something you did or something you didn't do, because that's going to hold you back from moving ahead. It's really important. Or if, you know, if you're feeling depressed, it's understandable. I mean, so many times I was depressed about my children not being able to do this or that, but that's what Somo's for. You can go and talk to Somo and talk to her and tell her, I just don't know, you know, I'm having these feelings, and I feel like maybe I should have done something different with my kid. But anyways, talk to Somo about it. You're lucky now you have a psychologist. She can help you.
Cindy la da chiwe na ani form chi gyang gudu form di la pu ji lo che pu ji choba da di sangma ko la details la thya ri form di la ya ani o di pa we ani Cindy gi roba cha ji di du Angela WhatsApp la da shna digyo la se Cindy la ani o di pu ji follow up ji che shara pu khazu yar ge dosha pu thando khandis yar ge tang thusare o di khala Cindy gi di roba chi wo song gi dos Ani ta phamada gelang khunju ki chiwa doyo na ani keja thiruchidara. Right now we have like almost 1 hour, right? Which we will make this for like Q&A, so we can have like
Yep.
discussion back and forth, right, with both the parents and the teachers. So let's ask them a
Yes.
question if they have any questions they want to ask regarding their concern to the kids or you know to the students. So like gela da phama khenzo like keja ke thia you know ani chiru chidara kize khranzo wajipu ki khanza 계좌 가진 시임들아 아니 저거 하시기 토라 제와도요나 아니 온디 인데로 계좌 지나 되게요래 nga chomala ya tangi thonante demba ajala ani ajarangi keje yamu bosuide ani chewa to yena ani sungya na rushida like so jikange do she tuna shina digyo ya
Mala chige.
ale lesle sungda sina tenze gele da
Yeah. Tenzin, get it.
Yes, ma'am. My son has so many sensory issues. Like whenever we go out, he is covering his ears. It's very difficult to go in a crowded area, or even if it's not crowded, he used to cover his ears. What to do with it?
Okay, so he's very sensitive for hearing, and with your child is Rabgya? Yeah,
Yes.
Rabgya. Okay, so I think you and I need to talk a little bit more about what's going on with him. But one thing you can do is you could put cotton in his ear. You could put like an earplug in his ear, because some children like we think the sound is loud, where we don't think the sound is loud, but to them they're so sensitive to the sound that they can't cope with it. So in that case, I mean, the best that you could do is, keep them in quiet environment as much as possible. But when you have to go out, you have to go out. And then, but you could use an earplug or cotton and see if that helps.
Okay.
But yeah, be sure you get in touch with me and we'll talk more, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
부야 미가 텐지 잡아라 코나야 남기냐말인데 안데 배 자가 도더라 기자 시당도 주도 빨아야랑 녀번 요가 조인데 레더라 안 잠잠데 기자 시달라는데 딜라달라는데 라이티스 칼에 하고도 치더라 아이스 콘데 치달라는데 잠잠 아이스 콘데 인데 야고 치 잠잠 치더라 어디 가리치네 인치 제
choba shembaya this madashte
잠 커요 이도 액티브 사자 액티브 여인 저도
like so ale
말에 액티브 사자
active sata do okay
나
so Somala said her son Chakpa. So earlier, like before joining the school, he couldn't speak properly, right? He couldn't speak at all actually. So after joining the school, he learned a lot. Like he learned a lot through socializing. So his communication got better. But there are some moments when he can't express it properly. So it's a bit concerning for the mother. And he's very active. That's what she said. He is very active, and yeah, it's just that just certain moments he has a hard time, expressing himself verbally.
Do you think he's hyperactive?
You did that because active, you like hyperactive to read that.
Or normal active boy?
So she said that he's quite hyperactive. Like he never gets tired,
Yes, he never get tired, and he's actually not following the instruction of parents. He's not a good listener now.
Oh,
Well,
that's
yeah, I think you have, so hyperactivity in boys is more common than in girls. Girls also have more boys, and boys in general are more active. But if you have a hyperactive child, then they're going to have, those two things are going to go together. They don't listen because they don't have time. They don't have time to listen, and they tend to have behavior problems. So they have trouble with their behavior. So those three things kind of go together: attention problem, behavior problem, following directions.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with the child learning to, like, imagine the teachers, right? They're trying to get the child to sit, and all the children need to sit together. But finding ways for the child to just pay attention to something very simple is super important, and going step by step. He's 6 years old, and there's going to need to be some, and then someone, I don't know, do you do anything with behavior? Do you help the parents with behavior?
No.
I mean, is that something you learned in school?
No. Not like this. We actually try to give him teaching like do like this, and this words is pronounced like this. We are teaching every day, but he's not interested. He just run away, and he have a problem of pronunciation also. He can't pronounce words properly, and his catching memory of pronunciation is also very weak. He can't catch the pronunciations of words.
Okay. But can you understand what he says?
Yeah. We understand what he is trying to saying and what he want to do. We understand,
Okay.
but he's not understanding.
Okay. He's not understanding because he's not paying attention. So the main thing is you have to look at the behavior. And sometimes little boys are a little bit wild. So it's really important to find ways to get him to do like just one thing at a time, and then be very positive. Oh, you put the spoon on the table. Very good. Okay. But just get him to do one thing at a time, and then pretty soon get him to do two things at a time. And you have to really give him a lot of attention. If he isn't paying attention, he's running off, then it's important to not really give attention to that, right? You don't want to be negative, but at the same time, whatever. So you have to find something he wants. Let's see. This is Tenzin Tsomo. You have to. You have to find, what does he like? Can you tell me one thing that he really likes?
He likes drawing.
Yeah, he like drawing. He like to watch movies. He like to watch cartoon, and he like to play.
Okay. No more movies. No more movies. No more TV.
Okay.
The only way he gets to watch TV is if he does one thing that you say, and then, okay, now you can have 5 minutes TV. That's it. So at first it's going to be really hard. Like, I had my girls and I took the TV away, and for 3 days they were screaming at me. But after 3 days, they stopped screaming. So it's important that if he likes TV, then you have to use that as you say, reinforcement, or almost like a present, or positive reinforcement for what he does. The other thing, where there's something else that you said he liked to do besides the TV. Oh, he likes to draw. So, okay. So let's say that he has a lot of crayons or pencils or color books. So he only gets to draw when he pays attention to you. So that you have to save those things that he likes for when he behaves properly. Don't just give him what he wants. No way. He's not giving you what you want. You know, you're only asking for him to follow a one-step direction. He's not doing it because he's maybe a little bit, we would say in English, he's got you wrapped around his little finger. He's a very cute little boy, and he gets mommy to do what he wants. But you have to not give him what he wants. He needs to do what you say, and then he can draw. Then he can watch 5 minutes cartoon. Then he can have his crayons. Then he can have his cars. But until he does what you ask him to do, and at first it's going to be hard. The first few days are really hard, but don't worry. After 2-3 days, then he's going to start doing what you say. But you have to be more strict. And I think this is hard in Tibetan society because you live in small houses, you don't have so many resources. You know, it's difficult, but you have to do it because it's for the child. You have to be more strict. And if you need to, you can talk to the teachers. Again, the teachers are dealing with this every single day. And if you don't get his behavior under control at home, then how is he going to learn at school? So again, you can get a hold of me and we can talk about this some more, but maybe Tsomo should be able to help you, because dealing with behavior, I think, is something psychologists do. Yeah, Tsomo? Come on. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Like positive reinforcement and, letting the child know the boundaries and
Yes.
this is okay, this isn't okay. The children really like to watch TV. Don't let them watch TV. Don't let them look at your phones unless they do what you say, and then say, okay, now you can have 5 minutes on the phone. Now, because and tell them why. Oh, you just put the things nicely on the table, or you just help mommy with dinner, or you just help daddy with something. And so then you say, okay, now you get 5 minutes of TV. But if they're not doing what you say, then they shouldn't be getting what they want. No way.
So it's like, in a way, it's like teaching them if they want to earn something, first they have to learn their own flaws, right? So in order to make their speech better, so you need to apply all those rules, right? Which you just say.
Well, but we're not even talking about speech. We're talking about behavior. And tell the child, don't forget about the speech, okay? Because the parents already understand. If you don't have proper behavior, the child isn't going to learn the speech.
Okay.
If the child cannot pay attention when you say ball and you ask them to look at your face, they're not going to look at your face. They're going to run away. They're not going to learn in school either because they're wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have one thing to ask you, Cindy. Like, there's this one case. So this kid was diagnosed autism, okay, and as a mild autism, and he doesn't speak. He doesn't speak at all. And when you call out his name, he doesn't even respond to you. He doesn't show like eye contact and all. He does his own thing. So I want to know, like, is autism like an autism child who doesn't speak and a child who has only a speech problem, are they like can they work together? Like, if first you have to work on the speech problem, or first you have to work on their behavior problem?
Behavior.
First comes the behavior, and then next we have to improve their speech, right?
Right. But with autism, you have to be careful because some autistic children will speak later, but some of them won't. So you never really know what you have to get more information about the autism. And there's a couple places in Chandigarh for autism. So that's on the resources too. There's one place, I think the place in Chandigarh is better for autism. It's called I think it's called Asha or something. And but there's many I think there's 2 or 3 different places to diagnose autism. What Tsomo is talking about is not autism. Okay, that's more hyperactivity.
Mm-hmm.
But for the child you're talking about, we already know that the child has autism. That's a whole different thing. And so it's very important to learn about autism and use nonverbal communication, like gestures and things like that, rather than trying to get them to talk. It's more important that they behave. Yeah, behavior is important, really important. Number 1.
So, like, have you ever treated a child who went through autism? If they can't speak, like, you're a speech therapist, right? So have you ever
Right.
have you ever checked a autism child who doesn't speak?
I have, but again, I don't have the ability to fully evaluate an autistic child. They have to go to an autistic center and determine, because there's all different kinds of autism now. Like, autism is sort of like a general word.
Yes.
And so we have to be careful because they say spectrum, right?
Yes.
And then they say, okay, well, this child could do this and this child could do that, but others can't. I mean, there's doctors who are autistic. So it doesn't mean that your child is stupid, but it also doesn't mean that if they're not talking, maybe they will talk, maybe they won't talk. but talking isn't the main thing right now. Right now, for those little ones, is behavior and being able to pay attention so they can learn.
So the first thing we have to look is the behavior, right? If they are not listening, if they are not cooperating properly, so that just shows their behavior problem, right? But uh, aside than that, like if the child who is behaving properly, who is negotiating with the parents or teachers properly, but isn't being able to speak, now that's the thing we are looking for, right?
Right.
What about those students like who can't talk at all? Like how do you improve their speech?
Well, I think you have to think about communication, not just speech. Communication, the lady who was talking about the C learning, they're communicating if they pick a card that shows a sad face, or they pick a card that shows a happy face, or they pick a card that, you know, if there's pictures. So then you can make a picture board and the child can point to these different things. Or also using gestures, that's another way. So you have to start like that. Now, for Tsomo's child, he's already speaking, the sister understands, the mother understands. That's not the problem. The problem is more right now, he's hyperactive and mom has to figure out how to get him under control.
Yeah. So first the child needs to get a proper diagnosis, whether it's hyperactive or not, right? And then we can improve his you know, her speech.
Yeah, I can help with the hyperactivity. That's not hard. It's pretty easy to evaluate that, but autism is more difficult and there's very levels. Like there could be severe, there could be moderate, there could be mild, and there also could be other problems that make it worse. Like for example, let's say the child's intelligence, or the child's very emotional, or the child has a hearing loss. So all those things have to be figured out before you can say, let's do this or let's do that.
Yeah. So
communication is more important than talking for the little ones.
Yes. Okay. 아니 게라 현존에 지워줘요 나. 심바 지워줘요 나 굳이 지르치더라. 단단 먼저 추주 채웠다다. 아니 온디 next subject 조줘라. 아니 온디 like 강의 로셰 챤나 situation 로셰 챤나 온디 지르치다. 게라 현존 게 레도메. Like get a china do you I mean a problem situation do you
I want to tell all the teachers that we found a center in Delhi that can really evaluate these children. And there's one parent, I won't say her name because I didn't ask her permission, but she took her child down to Delhi and they did a complete evaluation. It is amazing. I'm so happy because this is available and we never knew about it before. So we went to Chandigarh and we got some information, but most of the information we got there was about autism. So I highly recommend that, you know, but come and talk to me first and we can figure it out. But I'm just letting the teachers know that there is a resource in Delhi that can help sort these things out for the parents and for the child.
Yes, because like some parents are like, my child isn't talking, my child doesn't, is not friendly or something like that. But it's just that they are not trying to find the underlayer, problems with the behavior. So they're always just why the child is not speaking, they just focus only on that. But the main reason is you have to send the child to a proper diagnosis, proper evaluation. So once they figure out this child is going through autism or this child is going through some other disorder, so that at least they can find out, how to improve their child, Yeah, but most of the parents or anyone, like, they just simply just say it like, oh, my child doesn't speak. They just focus on that only. So I think it's important.
Okay. That's true. And that is very true. But at the same time, what I find with the Tibetans, and I think it's because a lot of grandparents aren't around too, or a lot of the grandparents aren't educated, so they don't know, is that if your child isn't speaking by 3 years old, so if you teachers, if you get a 3-year-old and they're not talking, it's a problem. In the United States, we say 2 years old, but I'm saying 3 years old. So if you get a child who completely isn't talking and they're 3 years old, it's a problem. So usually what I'm finding with the Tibetans is they bring me the children at 4, and that's a little bit late. I mean, it's better than 5 or 6, but don't wait. Start right away. If a child's not speaking at 3, it's a problem.
So the parents and the teachers should take action if the child doesn't speak from 3 years old, right?
Correct.
But there are some cases, like the child speaks from like the age of 6 or 7. So even though they don't
Not very often. Not very often. Once in a while, I would say little boys who they get their mom to do everything for them. This is possible, but if it's very rare, 5. Usually by the age of 3 or 4, they should at least say mama, daddy, go, or the dog, key. So yeah, it's unusual at 5 or 6, not very unusual.
Oh, okay.
That's too late.
No, okay. 아니 신박계좌에도 제나 like 게라 킨조기 진달라 부고인데 도에나 like 당보 중답도 계좌 마시라 아니 제라 칼리올리 첨보샤도 계좌 샤샤 아니 온데 도나 커리 중수 like condition이 improve 샤기인데 인데 도시기나 송로시더라
What Jojira, ma'am? My question is like, he's 3-year-old. He's like, he want to work, means he will work very properly. But if we take somewhere else, he will work he will not work. And in class, he's like throwing all the goods near the wall. The main problem is he's not working. If we take somewhere. Hello?
맞아 코 코페 치유 말이 레겨라 like 내가 치미들래 루스 오페 알레 콤바 게임들래 콤바 게임인도 댕게 쉐데
계시고 말 그런 거 봐요. 그런 내가 옛날에 그런 거 봐 얘기래. 이제 가지고 지금 채나 아니 얘기 그런다.
알레 직치 페이지라도 얘기입니다.
기자 찡칭 말해.
오케이. 기자 째시입니다.
기자 씨 말해요. 딱 공부 얘기 돼요. 그래 하셔도 가지고 지금 띠들아. 공부 얘기도 살아는데 강바 시키는. 잘라 정말 유.
오케이. 로 하주라.
로 숨다 나왔니?
알레. 오케이. 아니 밤에 걸리. 나올라 한데 둘러니 좀.
코 스피치 딜레이.
알레 스피치. 아니 셴바 공부 얘기하다 니 저도 강입니다. 나올라.
나올라 이거 언제 저러지?
알레. 또 that means 랩기라나 기자 쉐임도 아니 공부지 게임도 레이래. 공부 게임으로 팀인데.
그래 두바 옛날 얘기래.
오케이.
그래 두바 옛날 언제 얘기.
The like sangju dra do na ko dre de ani khala sawa sho di lenga gyu phe lenga gyu le do chim da
doctor sangju dio ko yu mar ko
yeah. So Cindy she said there's a kid who studies in kindergarten and he's 3 years old, so he doesn't obey them properly, like he doesn't walk and he walks very rarely and he doesn't talk at all. So what could be the problem?
He could be, it sounds like if he's not walking and he's not talking and he's 3 years old, then he may have some intellectual issues, some intellectual problems.
He doesn't have any problem with walking. It's just that he doesn't walk. Like he's controlling, his surrounding, I guess. Like he's not walking at all. Because like he can walk, but he doesn't walk.
Oh, okay. And he can,
and he doesn't talk at all. No, he doesn't talk at all.
Yeah. This is a problem. And again, we need to find out like, what is the reason for this? Is it, I doubt it's just behavior. I mean, it could be some behavior, but it's unusual, especially for a boy not to walk or to run. That's unusual. So there's something else going on with the child that is like he can walk, but for whatever reason he doesn't have like the effort to do that. Yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't have behavior, like he probably does have behavior problems, but there's some other reason why he's not walking or talking, especially at 3 years old. So, you know, trying to talk with the parents a little bit and get some information, I think it's very difficult, because if the parents don't recognize that it's a problem, then it's how do you get something done? So it would be important to talk to the parents about it and see how he's acting at home. Is he acting the same way at home or only at school? Does he run? Does he play?
The teacher told me like he doesn't talk in home. That's what the parent says. Yala, madam la.
Madam, who's gone?
Kansa hama dinzo e complaint ke chim da pu gumba game indu do da. In the cake complaint to shima.
진짜나 가르치고 파만 나올래 지금.
Ale zinda la kha chigi di chikpa chigi nang na chi du le.
공부해야 돼.
Ale kumba ge da nang la ki game indu.
게임은 둘. 그러나
So
전투에나 얘기 도거든.
so he's the same. He behaves the same way in the home as well. The way he behaves in school, the same thing happens in home as well.
Yeah, so this is very unusual behavior, and the parents need to find out what's going on with this child. It's good that you notice at 3 years old, because at 3 they can do more. The earlier that you find out the problem, like, you know, that's not normal. Like, that is just not normal. So the parents really need to take the child, and they can call me if they want to, but the parent has to be motivated, and they have to understand if the child is 3 and they're not, you know, they're acting the same way at home, then they need to start asking for some help.
Okay. So then the parents need to get a proper diagnosis on the child, right? So they can get help from you.
I can start to do an evaluation, and I can start to help to figure out what's going on. And sometimes I'll ask the teachers too. I might give the parents a form and then have the teacher fill it out also, so that I know the teacher is seeing this, the parent is seeing that, and then we can put it all together to try and come up with the best plan and get the child evaluated somehow. That's my job, is to help the parent figure out how to get the child evaluated. But if the child is leaving it to the teacher, the parent is leaving it to the teacher, and they say, okay, you know, like, fix my child, that's a problem. It has to come from the parent. The parents are the ones who need to help the teacher. The teacher is doing everything that they can to help all these children. But if we don't know what's wrong with the child, then we're only guessing. We're just playing guessing.
Yes, and then it just keeps getting worse as the time flies by. It'll make things worse.
Exactly. So now is the time. Now is the time to get some help because if they're 3, then you have a better chance. If you wait until 5 or 6, the parent says, oh, I'm just going to wait and see if they grow out of it. It's not going to happen. They need to get help now.
So we can do one thing, like we can try and get contact with the parents and with you after this session is done.
But the parents have to be motivated. If the parents aren't motivated, then I'm not, the teacher's trying hard. If I'm working, the teachers are working, but the parent is not working, then what to do?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Madam, I'm Chakwas teachers.
The translation.
Kelanga tapagi laira. Ani tapagi chilam de nangla chidan da lobde gi chidan bet kagarisha. Shida tiskeba. Nang pe kanimbu chepa lamla kanimbu kalanan samang yin jijurustura. Lobdala ya rawan chira ragla. encourage this manning restaura on the kanyeche any design kamida pe abunangora the chizo dildi lagra socialize shade chizo dildi osto chayura ine kura subudizo 빙이 뭐 가르치지라 뭔데 this 가르치지 않 양가진보다 점점 제잖아 뭔데 오스도라 아니 그래 같이 랜드지 더 데자고 베리아 또 돌아야 자 보다 점점 강해 뭔데 this 양가를 통고더라 뭔데 제 아니 디 단다 강에 갈란다 로트 웃음 거라길라 안디 갈란다 이게 다 인지갈 시자 돈난 치쇼 데랑 아주 간지스 남도 있는 송로시다
Ale yang keja shia kali de.
Tanda kincha ta sentence ringbo ringbo ni song to ya go zu go she la ya shine go zu ta tanda
Yang lobjon interest pe dikal na kuch da.
lobjong ge acting session jira won this kangye chi yudura shimba this nyenga jira ko kangla zmo jene inde tanga ring samen ja won de chi shiro chi ngudo sugo ma zan ngen bo che pe ya budura flexibility pe dura won de go minne semna la di she na di sa ma ri yo samen ja won de cho di this den do mun do koi
Shimba khare like loya da igit ya da ani memorize da din to kalim da. Logya da reading writing.
reading writing ko de or yo mare sam new to de man shira to na ti chi mi do agela
Ale the reading writing
this kangin chigore ani memorize la na ko dung de chikshen na ni thanda kele sungsa raming gi shen de dung da de na ko go chi sungsa won de dura an chi te yang se an la de ro sen na da tsa chi chupu chupu do de chikta bul la gi chu pa khar la de chu la gi do tap da wa won de
yeah,
sha
Cindy ma'am.
bet ko ha ra won de kangin chi do mi chikta ya 상마 야 상디 좀 봐라 그러면 상마 데디 야 상로 치마야 뭐 상마 데고 그 랭파 랑 디도 원디 디스칸이 치도 랑 왔다 가마 칸님 부도 숨다
Yeah. Cindy, so this kid, Tenzin Tsomo, so he studies in this thing, kindergarten, right? As the years went by, he improved his communication skills, but the problem is he's not taking attention in his studies. He's not, obeying his teachers. When the teachers tell the students to sit down, everybody sit down, but he stands up. So when he tells every student to stand up, he sits down, and he likes climbing on, high on the high stuff. So which could be very dangerous, for him. And it seems like he's not afraid of, taking such risk. So can you share your wisdom on this?
Is this the same Tenzin Tokpa?
Yes, this is the same Tenzin Tokpa. So he doesn't seem to have much problem with the communication level, because like when the teacher asks him to express a story, he can say it in a sentence. So there's no problem with that. The only thing is his behavior problem. He doesn't obey his teachers. So like, what can be the solution?
Okay. Well, that means that Somola needs to work with the teacher. You guys need to really have a plan together, so that what's happening at school is the same thing that's happening at home. Because now this child has control, and that means the teacher needs to take control and the parent, but there needs to be like a very strict behavior guideline, and then step by step, just first expect one little thing, and then you get a reward. Like it could be, for example, I remember when I was in school, we would get like a gold star, or you get some, something, well, you get to draw later, or you get some other, or if the child is climbing and places we're not supposed to, then they can't go to that place anymore because it's dangerous. Now you're talking about, a physical danger. So the little boy just lost his privilege to go to climb because he's not being safe and he's not minding. If he does what the teacher tells him, or he does what his parent tells him, then he can, get to the playground, or he can get to the swing, or he can get to draw, or he can get to watch something on the iPad. has to be consistent between the parent and the school and come up with a very good plan for, okay, this is what we want first. First, we want him to stand up and sit down. That's it. The teacher says, stand up, he stands up. He's doing the opposite of what you say. Now, there is one other possibility, and it's not uncommon. It's called oppositional defiance. And so the teacher says, sit down, and the child stands up. The teacher says, stand up, and the child sit down. The teacher says, run, and the child walks. The teacher says, walk, and the child runs. This is like the opposite, right? The child is doing the opposite. So they understand, but they're trying to get this control, right? They feel like they have to have control. So it's really important to go step by step with the behavior. Yeah. So just first would be like the mom could be working at home. Okay, stand up. He stands up. Sit down. He sits down, and then he gets something. Yeah.
The teacher just told me like this child, he behaves quite good in home, so he doesn't behave poorly, in home, like as compared to his behavior in school.
Well, that's not what Somola just said. Somola said she has trouble with him at home.
No, home.
Yeah.
Like now, look at that.
Yeah, little bit. No.
Well, according to the system, it's a lot.
No.
Tenzin Tsomo, ma'am, kena jipura.
Gela nganzo phazi gigenda phama puru dewa ya puye gela.
Ale, tegi ma'am ki lana Tenzin Tsomo hansa now la yabu behave chi du ligera.
Oh, nang ji du sa. La pru chi gela phama khala ni sa. Pala tunte pala shenye. Pula dis nyemba du khan nyemba dura. Mola phama nyemba ru shu tu nganzo de la tara.
So the teacher just said he's quite obedient in home and not that obedient in school.
Right, but that's not, I think what I heard from Somo and from her daughter is that that's not the case. He's hyperactive and he's not following directions. That's what we've been talking about the whole time. It's just that it's school. Now she has to deal with not only one child, she has to deal with 20 children. So of course he's going to have more advantage at school.
I mean, yeah, that's the same thing that I just said.
Is it this? Are we talking about the same kid?
Yes, we are talking the same kid.
Okay, well, he is having trouble at home, but he's going to have more trouble at school because that teacher has 20 children, not just one child.
The tanda city ki tanda lagash tensa ani on the dikhala the subject the zolu do ani on the kama shis la zaresha ani on the tangbo ni gela da phama kindu samala tujanang lai ra tuju digam sta la ra ani shemba like kange to ani nzu khala discuss to mangbo chini tuna ani nganjoi further workshops subject in the ma in the try chora ani tade de da virtual workshop also sa jema like we'll try our best the hansa physical workshop kon chhe on the china ya bu do samgi do ani kange do share shu in a re robot go in a re inde na ani ngajola de china di re yamina sindi la de china di kizi ngajola de china ngajo gi sindi la robot chiru chi da lai ra ani on the WhatsApp la de chungi ra sindi chala director chirana la tujana shei same thing ne khajana na kizi director gi permission mate na ani on the subject the impossible chei re ya ani on the chirana la tujana shei ra ani jama kuji inde yangyang inde mangbo ya subject inde ma che de ji new year ani on the ge to the identity as on the line
라서 안 소물라 집에 파마냠슈 나니다 아니 참말로 투시나 쉬이 아니 대리 파마다 가서 사마냠슈 치고했대 가서 운전에 옆에 보고대 야구지 차다 아니 야구 차다 야예 드랙 제가 가서 다른 좀여라 등 알아서 참에 모시네 야구라 뭐 디디리 아니 보면 니소 때네 가이나래 그게 좀 붙이네 다 가서 니마 템벤치라 가서 겐라 찍고라 sabjo지 초래 아니 되게야 되다 아니 보고서 참말라 균련지 지어래 가서 따티스 강에 테니 보고서 균련 지어래 균련 지어라 때네 땅 아주 가리 고두 고두람나 아니 까면나 디콜라 강에 요네 아니 가서 sab종데 냠수 지도라 디디 따다리 파마 참아 냠수 지도여서 레선습지도 레소마도 앞에 가우셔서 가서 참아 냠루 지나 아 야부지 차도 그래 직들이 니바들라 따다 다리 sab제바 가서라 고르나 요래 아 sab제바 가서라 고르나 요데 가서 디즈 라터 치도나 야부 도상들아 아니바다 다리 좀좀 라가서 겐라 넘버서고 아 가리 lakta chigi yoba nanda ya na la tis lakta che tumna anga zo go ya ki dra la phendo yore samdura ti chigre ani ni badala nga zo pugu ne dan la tage tage chi ne tangbo khola jitsu zo tu de ta ani badala ni shine ige ga la ko ya jora ti mai ba tangbo chama kho ga la lugna amma chama leba chigba mandi ko khali khali yoni yore khashi gyoba gyoba lamsa sumni yore nga zo tilla pa pa ko ba gore samdura nga zo khala pa be so la jora boge na lo la ina tpeje nganzo pu가라 샤나 직사리 삼습지도라 티인데 nganzo 칼로 보고디 가리 쿄도 땅에 다게 지는 nganzo 사만 로도네 야부 열에서들아 아 코지바 제도 코딜라 이게 신기도 담보고 까메 야부지나 공부 야부지 겹두고 말에 까메 야부지나 두고 말 디가 이게 럽럽나 nganzo 콜라 빼 칼로다 뉴슈체자 그랬어들아 어디지 nganzo 사만 하고는 야부도 성들아 어디지 때네 당아주 원에 간투도 지네 겐 나버서 sabjong 당고나 당게요 아니 가리 디콜라 데블로고나 로고요레 어디리 마부지 난게요레 디인데 아니 뜨나다 나라서 다 파만 남버서 이날레 간조 레다 몰라고 간조 보고도 간조 경고야 간조 참말라 랭게요레 간조 참마가 레와 그 줍레 디인데 아니 간조 참마가 지지 섬 소소 데블로고나 로 디산 참마 유튜브나 같이 따다도 아니 소소 샤드 쇼르 디지 따tum나 야고도라 어디지 어디시에 아니 다리 가서 믹스게 니도 컴페텐이 가서 아니 겐젤라 페데샤 티자니 가서 같이 뭐마 까메나 디콜라 칼리둘라 난다니 가서 sabjona pe 가우쇼 아 참말로 투체나 쉬에 라서 가든시 라서
투체나
아니 ngazo de
신딜라
ngazo director TSC ga director miss de le wang mo de la phere ya de ngazo sabjon de la ani mola ngazo madam la thujuna shwe ra ngazo ide project che chuni ra ani o de cutting che de le kla ani de le ma'am ke la ya na ke sunya ya na
다 담아 다른 게 sabjonte peje다 단다 신딜라 디네다 주슈 당토마사 아니 다디 가지기 단다 technical problem 카시지 대체소 안틸라 참말로라 아니 건다 시에이 호세 시에이 아니 데마 제산 단다디 페제 sabjonte 라 토네 아니 파마다 아니 부구 파마다 아니 기게 넘버 4라 투베 다 소외게 레와시 직슈유에서 시에이 우til라가 상마게 커서와 레게 망보질레도 삼서와 아니 가 상마게 장셰체 펜수 아니 무트닝아 저기 펜수 로겨 파소 갭겨 슈네타 아니 파소 투몽게 아니 레규 칸더다시 잠고였나 아니 딜라는 가좀 무트니게 아니 갭겨 슈에게 레와타라 펜수 슈네 아니 부고 다 튼 다고게 부고딜랑아 저기 펜토야다 마오바 람데 lamlo ya khoyo ge mundu shuye shuye an dos chine ne gela zwe ge chela zwe ge gela number tha ani phama ma bu chi phesha ani phama ma se ani tina lo la thegi thenga thengi nge ne ani nangmi de mo gu phesha wa anti membe phama membe de khashe zu shu na sha ani number chama lo la ani apemunu sutine khan chap shune ani thawan thoji chena shuye dos chin tharengi da di samjo chi shai is shai thujina ani sindela thujina shai laso thamalo puja na go azu muthuni pensu tuya da ra shuri
투체나
thujina
투체
Thank you.
take care everyone, take care.